Good morning, fans. Whiskey Delta Zero Oscar Mike here. And I'm about to get started for Frontenac State Park, which the weather kept being, it was too damn hot. It was too hot, it was too humid. Every weekend I had the time to try to go down there. And today, it is Labor Day Monday. The high today is going to be 75. It's not particularly humid. So I'm on my way down there, and I will see you there. So Google, for reasons best known to Google, decided that it was going to send me over onto the Wisconsin side and down the Great River Road, which is their State 35, rather than take me down US-61 the whole way. And I have to admit, I'm not sad about it. It's a prettier drive. It's a prettier drive by far. I don't know if you can see the river out there. I think you can. It's a prettier drive by far than the route down 61. So here I am. I'm at Frontenac State Park, and now you can kind of see why I wanted to come here. Even though I've never been here before, I had read about it, and I had looked it up a bit. And for one thing, this view of the Mississippi River is just, it's pretty cool. And it's a beautiful day to be out here. As you can see, it's also relatively high up. The problem with Fort Snelling is it's down in a hole. It's in a valley. This is up on a bluff, and height is might. So I'm going to mainly be working with verticals and QRP today. At least that's the current plan. And that makes it even more important to have a bit of height and not be down in a hole. So I'm going to figure out how I'm going to get set up. And then once I am set up, I'll be back to talk about the setup and talk about what I plan to operate with. So I have the stuff I think I'm going to need out of the car. It kind of looks like this. I've got the big battery. I've got stuff to eat and drink. I've got the amp that I'm going to use later. That bag's got the two small radios in it. I've got a whole bunch of stuff in the bag of holding. And I wound up choosing a setup point that's pretty close to where I just took my picture a little while ago in my intro. Overlooking the river. I think it's going to be nice. My biggest trick has been figuring out shade, because the sun's going to be behind me as the day progresses. I'm facing more or less east. I think I'm going to set up my antenna. There's a bit of a clearing over here, and I don't care if the antenna's in the sun, honestly. So I think I'm going to set up the antenna over here-ish. And if this gets crowded for picnickers later, I might have to rethink, because obviously I don't want to interfere with actual picnickers. I'm not trying to be a bad guy here, but this place is pretty quiet right now. This is my little case for little radios, and in this wrapping I have the radio I'm planning to use first today. So here's the radio. It's the QRPLabs QMX. QRPLabs QMX. This will do, this particular one, I didn't build, someone else built it. I believe this is the one that will do 20 and up, so all the bands up through 10. I might be misremembering this. This might actually be 20 and down, but that's okay one way or the other, because I have an antenna that will do multiple bands, and I also have another radio with me that will do all the bands. So I'll be playing with that too. Anyway, this is the radio I'm going with, and I'm gonna finish getting set up. I gotta figure out how I'm powering this. It's probably gonna be off a power bank, because this radio is very sensitive. It wants 12 volts, and that's it. If you undervolt it, you get less power than you need, and if you overvolt it, you stand the risk of actually frying it. And 13.8 is considered an overvolt with this radio, whereas most radios we work with, 13.8, even 14.6, they'll take it. One of the things I like about this radio is, while I didn't build this particular one, I could have. This kit is within my skill range. And there's a larger version called the QMX Plus that is all band, all HF band. And I do plan to eventually build that. So anyway, we're going to get this thing on the air and do some FT8 with it, because I still can't do Morse code. And I'll let you know how it goes. Let me talk a little more about what my plans are for today, what my goal is for today, because I actually have a goal. Like sometimes the goal is just to get out, activate a park, whatever. My goal today specifically is to get more experimental time with these small radios, with these lower power radios. So I've got the QMX set up. I'll show you in a minute. You might actually be able to hear. I'm not sure if the mic's picking up, especially since I've got the wrong mic on. I don't know if you can hear over the audio the whales of the dam. I've got FT8 tuned in, and I've got headphones plugged in just so I know that I'm hearing anything at all. This radio doesn't do SSB right now, so there's no other use for headphones if I'm not doing Morse code. It's just a check on what I can hear. I've got it hooked up to my Anker power bank, which this thing's a beast, by the way. This Anker power bank, I can't recommend it highly enough. It's amazing. Charges everything and anything, including my very large USB-C powerable laptop. So this is plugged into the power bank for power. It's giving me exactly 12 volts thanks to this trigger cable that I've got here. This is then running to the tuner. There's the tuner, because it doesn't have a tuner of its own. And I'm not too worried about tuning with this antenna, but you never want to be too careful. And anyway, I want more experience with the tuner. And then I already kind of tried to show you the antenna, although, again, it's kind of hard to show antennas on screen because they're so thin. But I think you can see it in this shot here. So it took me a little while to actually get set up. It's been a while since I've used the QMX, and I forgot a few things, including the fact that the last time I did use it for anything, I used it to practice CW with, so I had it in practice mode. It wasn't actually transmitting anything I threw at it. Duh. So I turned off practice mode, and now it's working. I'm getting out into the world. The tuner says I'm only getting out at like 1.2 watts, but I have already made 3 contacts, so 1.2 watts. When you're higher up and you've got a good antenna, 1.2 watts is enough. Am I going to reach Europe? Am I going to reach South America? Not in broad daylight on 20 meters. No, I'm not, but I'm making contacts. And it's a beautiful day out at the park. I misjudged where the shade was going to be, and I need to think about what I'm going to do about that. But let me actually show you my screen, which I haven't really done much of, but I'll show you. As you can see here, I am definitely talking to people. Which is pretty cool. I'm going to pick another one because that one's done. Let's pick that one. And if they don't answer me, I'll just call CQ again. Oh, I don't even know if you saw that. Let's go. I'm calling KJ4EX. And if you don't know what this is about, this is a program called WSJTX, and it's using a mode called FT8. The guy who came up with FT8 is an actual Nobel laureate in physics, of all things. So this mode is specifically designed so you can use it with very low power and it'll still work and you'll still get out. It's slow, it's limited, you can't really have a conversation on it, but you can make contacts, and particularly for parks on the air, the basic exchange is basically the same as the FT8 exchange. It's hi there, I'm here, hi there, I'm here. This is your signal report, this is my signal report. Nice to see you, bye-bye. If you remember a childhood book called Go Dog Go, it's, hi there, do you like my hat? I do like your hat. And that's it, that's the whole exchange. So if you're looking for a rag chew, this is not the mode to pick. If you're looking to get activated quickly with low power, this is the mode. Once again, I want to stress, there's more than one way to do it. You don't have to do it this way. You can talk all the time. Why not? Lots of people do. You can choose to do Morse code all the time. Lots of people do. You can do nothing but FT8 all the time. That wouldn't be my bag, but that's because I'm interested in playing with a lot of things. The minute I got all the configuration sorted out, my signal got out and I was being heard at 1.5 watts, which it's supposed to be 5, but you know, whatever. I'm not actually that fussed about it because I'm making contact. Anyway, I'm going to get back to it, but I wanted to show you that this was working. And this is all it takes. And you saw how big my radio was yesterday, but look how small that is. That is so small. It is small and cute. I genuinely love every time I make this radio actually do anything at all because it is so small and cute. And maybe small and cute should not be my criteria for whether I like a radio or not, but I also like cats. What do you expect? So I've made a bit of a change now. I ran the QMX for about 25 QSOs, and it ran pretty well. But I've now switched to the Hermes, and I've done that for a few reasons. One of them is that I want to be able to not use the power bank for my battery right now. I want to switch. I want to save the power bank for other things. The other reason is just that I want to try it out. And I'm already seeing significantly better power output. It's also ostensibly a 5-watt radio, but I'm actually seeing like 8 watts out. And it's showing on PSK Reporter that I'm getting much further. So we'll see what this does for me. It's also a much more sensitive receiver, and it is hearing a lot more signals, including a lot of signals from overseas that the QMX just wasn't hearing. And I don't know if there's something I could have adjusted there that I forgot about, or if it's just not as sensitive a receiver. Now I'm going to see what the Hermes can do for me, and then I'm going to see if I've got everything I need so that I can actually put in the amplifier and use the amplifier with the Hermes. So this is the Hermes Lite right here, this little black box. You can see that it's also kind of small and cute. It's also, you may notice, has no display at all. It has no user interface of its own. It's a peripheral to your computer, and it connects to your computer through the Ethernet port, and it really is Ethernet. It'll do just the local network, local link stuff if you don't give it some better IP address. And honestly, local link is fine because unless you're using the Hermes Lite as a remote of some kind, it doesn't need its own IP address. So this doesn't even have like its own headphone port. There's a separate board you can get for it that will give it one, that will give it a bunch of its own ports. But right now, I'm just using it through the computer. I'm using it through a program called Thetis. So that's the waterfall on the Thetis. This combination of the Thetis software and the Hermes Lite is incredibly sensitive. I'm seeing a lot more signals on the band. I now fully understand why people go through the trouble of learning, because Thetis is a very complicated program. To make it work with WSJTX, you need to set up things like virtual audio cables, things like that. It's kind of a pain in the butt to set up. It took me a while to get it set up, but now I've got it set up and running. And hang on a second, somebody's calling me. There we go, I'll answer them. Now I've got it up and running. The only thing I haven't tried to do with it is voice. I've done FT8 on it, and I've done a couple of the other digital modes on it, but I haven't tried doing voice on it yet, which I could do by basically getting my Bluetooth earbuds out and hooking them up to the computer. I've long since made my quota. I'm trying something new. I'm trying JS8 call. I'm not getting anywhere. Well, that's not true. My heartbeats are getting out and I'm getting AX back, so that's good. Trying to call CQ, not getting any actual QSOs, but I don't know enough about JS8 call to know how normal that is. The other problem I'm having is that I don't have enough cables and adapters to hook up the amp and the tuner, and the amp does not actually have a power meter on it. So I don't actually know how much power I'm putting out going through the amp, only that it's more than unamplified. I actually tried to do SSB through the Hermes, but I probably need to get a USB headset because these Bluetooth earbuds I'm currently wearing, it just won't read the microphone. But mostly today was about experimenting, and it was about seeing what these radios can do and learning more about particularly the very complicated software that runs the Hermes Lite. And I may actually try using a different program. There are other programs that will drive the Hermes Lite. Thetis is just sort of widely considered to be the best. And it sure looks pretty, and it does a lot, but it's very complicated. It's very complicated. So I'm mostly packed up. I managed to make an actual contact on JS8. It wasn't completely spontaneous. I arranged it with a friend on Discord, and that felt pretty good. And the only reason I'm packing up is that the laptop battery is dying and the power bank is drained. And so that's it. I'm out of power. So it's time to go. It was a good day. It's about 5 hours here, and that's plenty. And I learned a lot. I know a little bit more about what I like and don't like about both those radios, which is good. And I'll definitely do something like this again, but I think my next stop I'm going to do something where I can throw my voice out again a little bit. And maybe I'll even record some of that. Let me know in the comments if that's something you want to see. I'm gonna leave you with one more view of the river from Frontenac, because that's beautiful. That's the mighty Mississippi down there. Lake City is just south of here. Red Wing is a little bit north of here if you want to look it up on a map. Actually, you can just look up Frontenac. Anyway, thank you for hanging out with me, and this will just get better. That much I promise. I need to come down this way much more often. The terrain down here is much more like what I'm used to from the Northeast. I mean, the Twin Cities is actually very green. It's a very pretty place to live. But it's comparatively, and I do stress that, comparatively flat. And I can give you a little bit of a sense of what I am seeing as I am driving and why I think it's cool. I hope that's coming through okay. And then some thoughts about future activations, future operations that I hope to share with you. The first thought is, next time I'm going to go out with the stuff that I feel is tried and true. I had a good time experimenting the last couple of days. Yesterday was with the antenna. Today it was with everything but the antenna, really. But I also do want to get an op in where I'm kind of going for numbers. Like, it's not a numbers game for me that much. But I just spent 5 hours to make 22 QSOs, and it was fun. It was a learning experience that I needed. It was time I've been desperate to take to learn new things and to play with new toys. But not a lot of contact. On the other hand, hey, I made my first JS8 call contact. So, like I said, that was pretty cool. Even if it had to be arranged, it was still pretty cool. The other last thought I've got is I might need to give some more thought ahead of time to exactly what I'm going to do and say on these things that I record for you, because this was very stream of consciousness. This whole thing was a very stream of consciousness. I don't know that I really talked enough about what I was doing and why I was doing it, and I feel like I probably need to do more of that, which also probably means I need more of a plan than I had going into this. And so once again, I'm going to say, hey, if you like this, please like and subscribe, and tell me what you thought. Tell me what I can improve. Tell me what you want me to talk about. Tell me what's interesting to you about ham radio, or if you're just along for the ride because you're a friend of mine or a friend of a friend or whatever, and you like nerdy topics and I'm talking nerdy things. One way or the other, have a great day. I'm going to go find dinner. Bye now.